Welcome back to another episode of Timmy Stocks. So my name's Tobias Jackson, and I'm going to walk you guys through what I do whenever it comes to purchasing and or selling stocks. The idea going forward is to record any time that I do this process to either purchase a stock and or sell a stock, and I'll give the whys and the reasonings behind it. So what we're looking at currently is our individual account, the 14.6. No reason for you to for me to show like all accounts, as in like adding in the crypto. That's going to be a whole nother series. So individual account, this is our summary page. Let's go ahead and go into positions. What is the goal? The goal today is to purchase into 2 new stocks, and then we're either going to average up or average down 4 stocks. And we'll get into the terminology once we get there. So let's do a little brief overview of what we're looking at, so it's not just a bunch of numbers on a screen. Okay, so currently it looks like I am filtering by percent today's gain or loss. So it looks like SMR, which is a nuclear company, is up 6%. As we go down this list, we go all the way to the bottom. We will not talk about OKLO. That's going to be a whole nother episode. But Serve is our bottom feeder for today of a negative 8.8%. So if we go back up this chart and go over to total percent total gain or loss, this is really the main one I use, but sometimes I like to see how the day's going. So this shows that UUU is in number 1 for a 92% total gain, and then it goes to Ouster for 96% total gain, and then so on. As much as I love to show the winners, I have to show the losers too. Again, we do not look at OKLO because that'll be a different episode. So STI is our bottom feeder. What's interesting about them is that they improve lithium batteries. So I still have faith, but that's going to be probably one of the ones that we want to average up, and we'll get into that again at some point. So let's go ahead and purchase into these 2 new stocks. So we're going to search UEC. So I already have a couple individual like companies in my, I would say, my energy sector. This one's different because we're dealing directly with uranium. So this one's going to be a uranium mining and exploration stock. So and this is just nuts, the amount of growth that it's had this year. And what I solely believe that's because AI data centers, AI in general, there's so much tech being pushed nowadays. You got NVIDIA, you got AMD, you got all these huge companies that need energy. So we're going to go ahead and buy. We're going to use our individual account. You can see cash available to trade is 501. So far in this stock, or my portfolio, I've vested 11,000. Trying to think. Yes, 11,000. So this 500 makes it 11.5. So we want to go ahead and buy. We are going to do a $300 purchase, so it's going to leave, so it's 27 full shares, and then we have 1 fraction. It looks like 300 and a penny. That's all right. We're going to go ahead and purchase. Place order. your shares were bought. That's wonderful. I got some hiccups. Alright, so we are now invested in UEC. How beautiful. The second company is going to be the S&P 500. You can almost ask, and I want people to ask, you know, well, how do you know what you don't know? The S&P 500 should honestly be everyone's first stock they go into. What is the S&P 500? The S&P 500 is the 500 largest publicly traded companies. So it's companies that, I mean, they're growing our economy. And what's cool is if one falls out of the 500, they just remove it and then bump the next guy up. So this is beautiful because we're buying on a down day. What does that mean? Red is scary, but it means discounts. Discount day. Okay, so let's go ahead and... It was here I learned I cannot purchase the S&P 500 directly. I gained the awareness that index funds are only a statistical measurement. It's not a stock you can buy or sell. What's actually very interesting is I think I'm finding out that I'm unable to invest in the S&P 500.
A few moments later.
So I have to buy into a mutual fund or ETF that tracks the index.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Okay, so this is my first time seeing this page. So this is telling me that because the S&P 500 is a market index and it's not a stock, that I can't just purchase into it like normal shares. But I have to go through a mutual fund. So Fidelity has this mutual fund called FXAIX that is Fidelity's 500 index fund. Very interesting. So we're going to go ahead and buy. And we are going to spend 100. Preview order. This trade will be completed at the next available price. The order buy you are about to place exceeds your settled cash balance. Selling these shares before paying in full for the trade could result in a good faith violation. So it's saying because I don't have settled cash, that's the issue. But I also have cash available to trade, so I'm going to say that we're fine. Place order. Alright, so order has been received. Trade executes after next market close. Price generally available by 9 p.m. Okay, that's wonderful. I had to get a little walkthrough from AI to get that in play, because that was the first time I invested into a mutual fund. So we are now back on the individual positions page. We do see our UEC here, and I'm guessing that we are not going to see our mutual fund until the next market, is what I read. Okay, so now that we're invested in UEC and the S&P 500, let's go ahead and average up or average down those stocks that we were talking about before. So it's going to be AMD, OKLO, SMR, and STI. And as we go through them, I'll explain a little bit of what they are. So let's start with AMD. So AMD right here, it's currently $160 per share stock. Under purchase history, you can see that I first acquired AMD in November 8th, 2024, and then its last date purchased was Jan 21st, 2025. So after this, you're going to see a new September 2nd on there. Why am I investing more into AMD? Let's stop and think. Well, AMD is one of the leading companies that creates semiconductors. Well, not only that, Xbox, a company that uses AMD for their processors, is about to come out with the Xbox Ally, which is a handheld device. Pretty neat. And they use AMD processors. October 16th is the day of that release. So I believe that this stock is going to... So let's go ahead and action is buy. We want to do order type as market. And since this stock is $160 per share, we want to figure out what is $25 worth. So looks like I already have this information filled out. So we're going to go ahead and say $25 and apply. So that gives us this 0.155 quantity. It's perfect. And I don't want it to say limit, I want it to say market, because I want it to buy just as soon as whatever the market's selling or buying for. So let's go ahead and preview order, and we're going to go ahead and purchase. Alright, so let's go back to those terminology words, averaging up, averaging down. Let's refresh this. So see how AMD is now yellow, a little highlighted. Okay, so September 2nd of 2025. See how our average cost basis is so much higher than what it has been? We are technically averaging up. What that means is that the total gain is higher than what you've previously bought it for in the past. So, right over here. So I've never purchased this stock this high. The belief is that it will continue to go up, is the idea. So, we're averaging up. Right here, average cost basis. So this whole line, here we go. This whole line basically shows what cost per share was it when I purchased the stock, and it averages it out per individual. So each of these are basically all averaged to equal 132. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into our next one, which is OKLO. And we will go right here. So you can tell on this one that first purchase was May 27th, and the last purchase was June 12th. Total gain or loss, you can see that back on my May 27th purchase, where I only bought $48 worth, has gained 48%. So a majority of this stock really comes from this May 27th. But because it looks like in June 12th, current value, or I should say cost basis total, this is the amount of money that I put in for June 12th. So almost $500 I put into this stock. Should have done it sooner. It's always the statement. So we're going to go ahead and buy. So again, we're going to be averaging up because it's past the amount. We're buying past the amount that we've originally purchased it for. So our average cost basis is $65, where we're buying it at $72 now, with the idea that it will continue to rise. So let's go ahead and do estimated order value. It's $25. We want to change this order type to market, and then we're going to go ahead and purchase. So I could do the same thing where I refresh. OKLO is now in yellow, and then I see it right here. Well, even that couple seconds, I've gained a little from it. Alright, so now we're going to SMR. You can tell on January 23rd versus August 1st. So August 1st, I bought it when it was at $44. Whereas January 23rd, I bought it when it was at 28. You know, in SMR, it's 52 range. It hit $53 the other day. It was awesome. We are buying with the intent that it will continue to rise. So let's go ahead and do dollar amount 25. Apply. Change the order type to market. And we're going to put money into it. Boom. And then our last one is STI. Oh, I'm sorry. What is OKLO? What is SMR? They're nuclear reactors. I mean, it's energy. And kind of like the story earlier with these data centers, the AI. I mean, we need energy. So let's go down to STI. So STI is my bottom feeder. Again, we don't talk about OKLO. But you can see on May 9th, the only time I've purchased this, it's been nothing but down since. So this is going to be averaging down because our average cost basis is $5.12. Well, it's currently at $3. So when we purchase, that average cost basis is going to drop because we're now purchasing it at a lower price per stock. So we're going to buy. We're going to do the same thing. $25 worth. Order type is market. And we're going to preview order and place. Okay, so now that we have purchased into two new stocks, UEC and the S&P 500, we've also either averaged up or averaged down AMD, OKLO, SMR, and STI. I would say we have had a successful stock day. There's sometimes that these numbers are going to be red. Do not be scared by the red. Unless it looks like this. The one we do not talk about. Oh. This. Companies can go bankrupt. Just make sure you're doing your research. So, at this moment, we have now backed, or I would say add resistance to our stocks. So let's go ahead and close her out right there. If you guys have questions, please leave feedback in the comments. I mean, I'll gain more knowledge by you guys asking questions. We need to get to a spot in life where our money is making us money. Not the labor we do, but our money is working hard for us. Appreciate you guys.